Hi, I'm Libby Paloma. This is Cookie Paloma. I'm a Velvet Park resident, and this is my installation here at Stephen Street Gallery. The show is called Connective Tissue. I was invited to be in this show, gosh, like about a year ago now. I had other shows that I had to make new commissions for, so I didn't have an opportunity to work on. So I was like really grateful to have the residency, because I didn't have that. It was like the perfect timing. That was like the time I had to start making the sculptures for this show. When I set my mind to make art, like, it will be done. Yeah, I got very creative in the tiny space to make this work. Yeah, basically I performed large-scale Jenga every day that I was working on it. I've been interested in the last few years about thinking of, well, longer than that even, thinking about turns of phrases and idioms. Before I pursued an art career, I was a speech-language pathologist, and actually a part of that therapy with some people, we use idioms as a way of like thinking about, thinking through like different ways phrases are used in order to communicate feeling or social thinking through like different layers of like meaning as it relates to like social meaning or different emotional meaning, layers. So I started like thinking about it and sort of being in like a little bit of a research phase sort of when I started. That's part of my process. I have to have time to like let ideas and things start sort of rolling around in my brain. There are idioms cross-culturally. They're not necessarily shared, but ideas are often shared cross-culturally, and that's, I find, really interesting. A lot of idioms that I've sort of done like some research into actually come from working class culture, which I find really interesting as someone who's a working class artist. Pie in the sky refers to the idea of, it's supposed to be this idea of like something that's unreachable, untenable. And in the context of labor organizing and labor, it was considered like that the wealthy people that were that were not paying the laborers enough money were and having them work like egregious hours for nothing. They would sort of say like, don't think about your body, don't think about your well-being, work until you die, and then there will be a pie in the sky. The conceptual framework behind my installations are the urge for like a softer world. So my conceptual framework is always world softening. And that is related, to a number of ways that I think about my own identity. I was born with a connective tissue disorder, and so I have some things that happen where I need to like sit down or rest after certain kinds of physical activities or whatever, right? And I was finding that my experience going to art galleries was that there wasn't always a guarantee of a seat. Like, we're walking so much and we're upright so much and standing very short periods of rest, if any. And so you're meant to traverse the city or whatever, get to a gallery to stand more. And for me, that can be an access issue. Part of the world softening for me is providing rest and providing a seat. So the access issue is a form of ableism. And so I find ableism to be very hard. And so my urge is to make a different world that is soft. And I find that, similarly to other forms of oppression, that it's actually, there's a lot of relief for like people who don't identify as disabled, that it actually is like an experience that people broadly find comfortable. To me, there's a lot of joy in the idea of like it being food but not functioning the way that it's supposed to, quote unquote. So although like this work appears like to be this like soft, fun, joyful, fun, it's actually, there's a lot of layer and a lot of meaning. And also to me, like it functions, like I use fabric as like almost like in a painterly way. So for me too, I really wanted like color here. The painterly aspect only comes from the site specificity too. Like I think about this whole thing as like a panel, But similarly, like my installations, I hope to be consumed or quote, interacted with more so, and like consumed like a pie. As I'm thinking about pie, I start like hearing pie, like there are different like pie things that are happening, right? And I heard on a political podcast something about growing the pie, that we can grow the pie. There's enough pie for everyone, but like this person was thinking about like economics. And I was like, yeah, right. Is it so pie in the sky that we can't grow the pie? And so that sort of lent itself to like me serving people pie at the opening. Because I was like, yes, sit on my pie, which is like kind of funny to say. There might be like double entendre there, sit on my pie, but I'm also offering comfort and access, or for some folk, or like, and also it's big enough to fit two, so like there's an aspect of like I'm inviting interconnection, I'm inviting community in some way maybe, and then I'm serving pie to everyone who wants it. I was more thinking about it at like related to the idiom of it all and everything too, because I actually like can't like eat most things. Like I can't, because of my disorder, I can't tolerate like a lot of different foods, including sugar, gluten, and dairy, so that's like pie, right? So that said, the pies that we served in the opening, because I collaborated with an artist who's also a baker, I requested that they be sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free. So to me, there's also this way that I get to enjoy pie, because I can't typically. So like, I'm gonna make a pie that I can enjoy, that my body enjoys.